Well, here I am at Aquincum, which used to be the former capital of, the former Roman capital of what was at that time known as Pannonia, which would eventually become modern-day Hungary. And I am taking a tour of an old bath, an old Roman bath, which is absolutely fascinating. And I was able to get in here for the equivalent of $6 US. And it's almost like going to Rome, but here I am in Hungary taking a tour of an ancient bath, swimming pool. From what I've heard, this was actually fascinating when it existed 2,000 years ago. And so far on my trip, I have not had a chance to explore any ancient Roman ruins. I've, for the most part, been exploring old European Gothic and Neo-Gothic style buildings, but this is actually the stuff that I'm interested in, ancient Roman history. I've been studying, Roman history for quite some time, and to actually be around this right now is making my day. It's actually quite fascinating when you walk through these ruins. You can see a lot of stuff here, very, very detail-oriented stuff that just amazed that it still exists after hundreds of years of war in this country, and occupation by the Nazis and the Soviets. I'm surprised this place actually still exists. And so I just continue my tour and walk around and look at some really fascinating stuff that might be considered quite odd at first, but when you actually read about it and find out what it actually is, you're like, wow, this is an ancient Roman bath, or this is an ancient Roman villa. People actually lived here, they worked here, they fought here, they raised families here, and they died here. And I actually just finished taking quite an amazing tour in the museum, and quite extensive, quite amazing artifacts that have been found here over the last 40 or 50 years. Pottery, copper, metal, iron, tools for hunting, tools for killing, all different kinds of stuff. And, the further you delve into this, the more fascinating it becomes. It almost makes me want to take a trip to Rome, although I'm not sure Rome is on this part of my trip. We shall see. So I'm just going to keep walking here with the video camera and just exploring the one of the more fascinating parts of Budapest that I've stumbled upon so far. And I could actually spend a whole day here if I wanted to. There's no reason to leave, because you just have to use your imagination here when you're walking through and try to visualize what all this stuff looked like a couple of thousand years ago. And when there was no highway there, and there were no buildings surrounding us, and I would imagine that the weather was maybe a little bit different, but not so much so that, the cool temperatures right now would probably be around what they were back then. So you're just seeing all of this cool stuff here, right? It's absolutely amazing, right? We're now in the residential and artisans building, the so-called butcher's house. Maybe I should walk through the residential building, the butcher's house, and just visualize. If anyone has watched Rome on HBO, you could probably visualize what all this stuff might be. Recreations from Hollywood and movies, well, this is the real thing. This is the real deal, people. You know, there's actually an ancient Roman aqueduct not too far from here that I did manage to take a picture of. So, I'm continuing my walk. I'm not sure where I'm at now. I'm not sure whether I'm still in the residential and artisans building. But I am walking towards an old structure right now. I'm not even sure what this was. Trying to see if there are any signs that can give me a glimpse or an indication of what this was. I don't see anything here. I'm doing my own self-guided tour here in what is called Aquincum, the old former Roman capital of Pannonia, which later became known as Hungary. Over the centuries, the name changed, the Hungarians were conquered. Basically, Hungarian history is full of war and being conquered and occupied by foreign countries. And Rome was just one of those first countries, first empires that happened to occupy what would later become known as Hungary. And I am walking towards something pretty interesting right now. I'm not sure what it is. It looks almost like a cemetery here. Looks like a cemetery. But I have nothing to tell me that this is a cemetery. It had to be something at some point. But there is a sign coming up on the left, and I do intend to check this out, see exactly what this was. Let's see here. Was it a cemetery? No, this was a shrine. The great public bath of the Forum was separated on its southern side by a small lane from the shrine of Fortuna, Augusta, that was encircled by a stone wall. An altar stone set in the late Roman wall of the neighboring bath indicates that the shrine was the cult of Fortuna Augusta. The open-air cathedral, or I should say courtyard, of the shrine had an entrance opening into Street B. By the southern side of the wall stood a rectangular fixed plinth on which either a statue or an altar must have stood. A small covered niche that must originally have held a statuette of the goddess stood at the other side of the space. Opposite to the entrance, the courtyard was divided diagonally by a drain, which brought the water from the public bath to the sewer channel in Street B. The shrine was presumably used until the beginning of the 4th century AD, when Christianity became the state religion. Very interesting.